In this video, I will show you how to make 4 custom instruments in RoCitizens. These are super unique and look great in any house. So let's get into it. So first I'm going to make a tambourine. And the first thing I'm going to do is get one of these tables by Industrial Industries. I wouldn't use this table permanently in the house if I made this, and more as just a guide. So then I'd get a building block, any building block. I'm going to use it as a grass one so I can tell it's different on the build. I'm going to place it so the bottom lines up with the top of this metal bar. I'm going to scale this down 1. Then I'm going to get one of these stools by Construct On, and I'm just going to place it on here where I want the tambourine to be. So now I'm going to place this building block against this wall and watch closely where I place it. I'm going to place it so it's overlapping half of this grey metal bar. Now I'm going to scale this table out the way. Actually going to move it right over here. Then I'm going to scale this block all the way around here. And then I will get my bells. Now here, you place these around the tambourine. I'm going to place 5, but you can place maybe 6 would fit, or you could do 4 as well. Now I'm happy that these are even. I'm going to take this building block and scale it up 2. Now I'm going to get a turntable and I'm going to just place it on this building block now, and I'm going to scale it 1 smaller in 2 directions, just like that. And now I'm going to place it so it's centered with the tambourine. Now I can remove this building block and scale this table back. As you can see the stool underneath the table, which is why if I'm going to use this in a house, I would make a custom building block table so you can't see the underneath. The cool thing about this tambourine, it's the only instrument that can actually make a sound, because the bells on here can ring, so it almost looks like you're ringing the tambourine. So next I'm going to show you how to make a violin placed on a table. I've already started with the body of the violin, and here it's just building blocks, wooden building blocks scaled as thin as they go. So I just do it like this. I place a building block on this base table building block, and I line it up where I want it. I scale it as flat as it goes and as thin as it goes. I've made this table quite low, I'm not sure why, but you can move this up or down before you start to make it however high you want. Next, what I'm going to do is scale this block as flat as it goes so it's completely out the way. And I'm going to take another random building block, I'm using a grass one again. I'm going to place it on the wall and scale it out so it's overlapping with the violin so I can see it better. And then I'm going to line up with the bottom of the violin, and making sure that my position increment on the bottom right is 0.1, I'm going to move it down 1 increment below. Then I can start placing some details like the neck. Then scale this 1 scaling stud down so the blocks don't intersect. Next you can add some details like the neck, which here I will line up with the violin and scale it so that it's just above the violin but not intersecting. Instruments, I use reference images from Google. So next I'm going to add some more black details at the bottom, just here. And I'm doing the same method where I'm placing it below the wooden building. I'm going to complete the rest of the details on this level. Next I want to add some more details around the base of the violin, as shown in this image, but at the moment they would intersect with this wooden building block, so I'm going to scale this brass building block that I'm placing them all on down 1 more stud. As you can see, I've used 3 building blocks scaled as small as they go, so they're half overlapping. You can't see them from the outside because they're not intersecting with the edge of the blocks. And I will repeat this on the other side now. Now I can remove this green building block, and I'm going to scale this base building block back up to its original height and place this building block on the end of the neck of the violin. and scale it so it's just above this in front building block. Finally, I have 4 building blocks black here, scaled as thin as they go and as flat as they go. And I'm going to place these just on the head of the violin here, 2 on either side. Just looking down on the violin, you can see where all the parts are positioned, so hopefully you can copy this quite well. Next, I'm going to make a piano. I'm going to make this fairly simple and basic, but you can make it however detailed you want, like in other examples of pianos I've made. I'm going to make it a plastic base, but you could make it wooden and make it however big or small you want. So first, I'm going to take a plastic building block. I've coloured it grey. I would usually colour it black later, but I find it easier to build with grey building blocks. I'm going to scale it approximately to the height I want of the back of the piano. Next, I'll take any building block. This is a temporary building block, and I'll place it on the floor. And I'll scale it to about just below the height where I want the top of the keyboard to be. Next, I will take a white building block and place it on here, so it lines up with the other base building block. Scale it as flat as it will go. Then I'm going to scale it 1 or 2 studs, maybe 3 from either end, so there's a bit of a gap. Next, I will scale this temporary building block down just 1 stud, and I'm going to take another grey building block and place it so that it overlaps slightly with the white building block on either end, so it's just slightly bigger. And this is what I mean, so it's just coming over the edge slightly from the white building block. Next, I can remove this temporary building block, and I can place 2 more of the grey building blocks on either side. I'm then going to scale them so they are 2 studs thick, and I will scale them up just above the piano. All these parts you can scale to different sizes later whenever you want. Now I've completed the main body of the piano, I can see that this part's too wide, so I'll just scale it to as thin as I want. When you are placing these 2 blocks, this white block and this below grey block, it's important to place them on top of another building block and not against this back building block. This is because when you come to place the keys of the piano, you will place them against the back building block. So to make the key, I will just put a black building block on the floor, scale it as thin and flat as it will go, and so that the small arrow of the direction is on the thin edge. I want the key to be just this gap above the white building block, so I can place it here to see how high I want it to be, and then scale it down 2 studs. However, here you can see it's intersecting with the bottom of the white building block. So what I do is I scale this back building block, this back 1 stud, and place them on here. I do the same again. Place it here, scale it down 2, then scale it down 2 here. And that is 1 key. I will repeat that again. I will now finish the rest of the keys on the piano. I have now placed all the keys. As you can see, they're in sets of 2 then 3. This is how a real piano looks of the keys. And I have a small gap between the groups of 2 and 3, and then a bigger gap like between the separate groups. I'm now going to add a small detail to the back of the piano before I scale this back panel in. So I've just scaled the side wall here, and I'm going to place a building block of any colour on here, so it's just above the black keys and just 1 stud overlapping with the white keys. I will then scale this all the way along. I'm going to make this a different colour because I wouldn't want it grey. Make sure to scale this side panel back to where it was, and then you can scale this base main piano block back. I usually then like to add another thin building block at the bottom of the piano, and then I will use 3 mouse as foot pedals for the piano. I'm now going to scale this main back of the piano down slightly and place a building block on top at the back. To make music sheets, I usually take 2 building blocks or sometimes just 1, and I colour them white. I colour them as thin as they go and make them about the size of what a sheet of paper could be. I then make sure my rotation increment is set to 5, and I place these so it looks like a pair of pages opened up nearly full. And that is what the final piano looks like. You can of course add a chair or a stool. I've made pianos in many different designs, often more complicated or different shapes as shown on the screen, so you can make them however you would like. Finally, I'm going to show you how to make a guitar. I've made an acoustic style guitar here, but I will be showing you how to make an electric style guitar. But they are made very similarly, so you can do either. So first what I'm going to do is place a temporary building block about where I want the neck of the guitar to be. And I'm going to place the neck of the guitar under this building block. And it's going to be as thin as it goes widthways, so in this direction, and then 2 wide in this direction. I'm going to scale this to the approximate length of the neck of the guitar, but this can be changed at any time. Next, I will place my temporary building block here again, and I'm going to put a building block on the floor and scale it as thin as it goes, and then 3 wide here. I'm then going to place this on top, but so that it extends slightly over the edge of the other block, and you'll see what I mean here. Just then I'm going to scale this as flat as it will go. Next I'm going to place this block halfway up this building block against the wall. Then I will take another building block, put it on the floor, and I'm going to scale as thin as it goes, this time 2 wide, and then as flat as it goes. And then I'm going to place this block so it's half a stud to the side, and I'm going to scale it to the middle of this block. For the final block, I'm actually going to put this above the top block, scale 1 to the same size, and place it underneath, just here. So it makes a little step pattern. Next, I'm going to try and make the body of the guitar. I always copy images on Google to try and get the right shape of objects. So first, I will put a few building blocks on the floor, and I will scale them as thin and as flat as they go. Now, here you want to place these blocks half a stud behind the neck of the guitar, so the neck of the guitar is in front. I'm going to start by making the top point of the guitar. Then, to add more blocks without them intersecting, you scale this base building block down 1 stud. Then I can place a building block underneath and it doesn't intersect. I will continue making the body of the guitar with this technique in a speed build. Now I've finished the body of the guitar, I kept looking back at my reference images from Google to see how to shape the guitar, so this is very useful to have, or you can copy the shape I've used. Now if you want, you can leave the guitar like this, it looks good, and it clearly looks like a guitar, or you can add more detail, as I did on this guitar over here, where the center hole is an ink jar, and this line here is part of the bell, and this just makes it look even more impressive. So to use these parts, you place a building block behind the guitar and then place them on top of that building block. However, you will see here, because all these blocks were placed on building blocks, if you try and do this, they will intersect and they won't work. So if you want to add bells, what you have to do is move the parts of the guitar so that they are placed sideways on a building block just like this. It is quite tedious, so if you are happy with the guitar how it looks now, you don't have to change anything. Once you have moved that block, you can place a building block on the floor behind the guitar to the height you want the bell to be, and then just place it overlapping a tiny bit with the front of the guitar. The guitar stand is just made from building blocks. So that is all the instruments. You can make variations of each instrument to personalise them. I hope you found this video helpful, and let me know if there are any other instruments I should try and make in RoCitizens. Thanks for watching.